Welcome back to another episode of Excuse My Grandma. It's Kim and my co-host,
Grandma Gail.
And today we have a very exciting guest. You've either seen him on TikTok or walking around Washington Square Park. He's the host of What's Popping with Davis. And since launching his TikTok in 2020, he has a huge following. Grandma and I have loved following him for a while now. He also appears on Sirius XM on TikTok Radio. And this episode, we're going to talk about his career, some of his favorite interviews, and so much more. Please welcome Davis Burleson.
Hi, guys.
Hi, so
Davis.
happy that you're with us today.
Thank you.
I love you.
Stop.
I do. I love you.
That doesn't come easy from Grandma Gail, I
know.
will say.
I like you.
Oh
this
my
is a good one.
Thank you so much. Well, the first time we met was at like 2 years ago at this
Correct.
La
Was
Roche. Was it 2 years ago? It felt like 2
That's
years
crazy.
ago. Time goes fast.
Time goes very quickly,
Yes.
but it was a long time ago.
Yeah, at like a
and I fell
brand
in love
event.
with his pants.
Yes.
Right, Kim?
Yeah.
So that was it. So you've stuck in my mind ever since.
Yeah, it was at a La Roche-Posay, which is a great sunscreen event in Hudson Yards. And when I told Grandma we were doing this interview, she was like, I loved Davis's pants. So the pants today, what do we think? 1 out of 10?
Yeah, no, he's always good.
Okay.
He's
Thank
always
you.
good. He's a relaxed moment. He's in a relaxed pants.
I'm in a relaxed state of mind. It's summertime.
Exactly.
And I couldn't tell you what pants I was wearing at that time, but I can guarantee
I think it was a slim black. How do you like that?
I love a slim black. That's so me. I would do that. So makes sense.
It was good.
How do you describe your style?
Oh my gosh, I always say my style is like a prep school kid that's failing his classes.
Oh my
like,
God, I love it.
I love preppiness. I love like a conservative style, like a collar, but I like to edge it up a little bit, maybe with like Converse or leather, just like a little bit of both. That's like just
That's
what I
New
gravitate
York.
towards.
That's
Yeah,
New York at
totally.
this moment.
True.
That's really true, right?
Yeah. I feel like I could say the same, honestly, about my own.
Well, I can't because I always wear the same white
thing.
shirt.
Yeah.
So I'll fly, and I can't go to the Converse yet. I'm still wearing the ballet flats. I gotta change.
For
them.
those who aren't watching, Davis is wearing very cool Converse with some Band-Aids on them.
Stop. Yeah, I got these at CVS, Toy Story Band-Aids. So we're just
Oh.
like, I want to put them on. I love Toy Story. But ballet flats are so in.
Thank God, because I have a whole closet full of ballet flats. So I'm committed to this look.
Yes, love it.
So Davis, you started posting on TikTok during the pandemic. What made you even want to start doing that?
Well, I have, since I was little, always loved entertainment. Like, the first thing I was obsessed with was American Idol. And, like, I loved the judges. I loved Ryan Seacrest. And I was just obsessed with, like, competition reality shows. And so my whole life, I would go out in the backyard on my trampoline and, like, pretend to be Ryan Seacrest and, like, play these fake American Idol games. I never wanted to be a singer. I always wanted to be, like, the host of some sort. And so my plan, my whole like life before I started TikTok was like, I'm going to be a YouTuber. Like, that is my destiny, but I can't do it until I'm out of college because then no one can make fun of me, right? So I had that plan. I didn't tell anyone, but I was like, that's what I'm gonna do, okay? Back of my mind. And then COVID came around. I was a senior in high school. I had nothing to do. And I already knew I was going to New York for college. And everyone was popping up on TikTok left and right. And there was no one around me to make fun of me. So I said, why don't I just start posting? And so I made a plan. I posted 5 videos a day. And I was like, I'm going to make this work. And I started in March. And then by May, that's when my account really started to like take off.
What's the fear of someone making fun of you?
I don't know. I've always just had that fear. I still do. I really... I care what people think about me, which sucks, but
you shouldn't even think about it.
You need to
I
talk
always
to
say
her
that
about
to Kim.
this.
I know I do need to talk to you about it because
it shouldn't even just you, and who cares?
I know. It's just something I struggle with. I think it might be also, I'm a triple fire sign, Aries, Sun, Leo rising. I'm like, I care about the way I'm perceived. I don't like people talking about me behind my back. But I'm getting better at it.
But I feel like by being you, that's what's led to your success.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you think about it that way too, of like, if you cared about what people think, like, then you would alter the way you put yourself out into the universe, and then like people might not like that version, and they definitely like this version.
Thank you.
Yeah, but you see what happens, and I'm in Davis's defense. When you're young, you get bullied for many different reasons.
No, I'm not trying to minimize anything.
No, I'm just
obviously.
saying that's a problem. That's why so many young people who are on social media, they bully other young people. That's a negative. So I'm glad that Davis is doing things that are fun out there. And you know what? If people don't want it or they don't like it, oh, the heck with them. They don't have to watch or listen.
Yes.
Right.
But I do put it out there that people have to stop bullying each other, especially on social media, which bothers me a lot.
Yeah.
Especially with tweens. That's the group that I always worry about.
Me as well.
Obviously, everyone always asks this question on every interview, but because we are talking about it, like, what has been your experience with hate online?
I've actually become very numb to everything that has ever been commented about me. I don't really get to like down in the dumps if I ever get a hate comment. But the main thing is always just like, you're annoying or you talk too much. And I'm like, I know.
Right.
So
okay.
I've been fortunate enough that hasn't been like a big issue for me.
Good.
I knock on wood. But yeah, I mean, a hate comment, regardless of whether or not it goes to my head, it can still
It
like
still
sting.
hurts.
Yeah.
I mean, Kimmy always says to me, we got some bad comments. I said, don't read it to me. I don't want to know.
Yeah.
You know, because it really does still hurt, even though you're good in your own skin. We know what we're doing is happy and is proactive, but it still bothers you if you get negative, nasty comments. I don't care who you are. So the best thing is just don't dwell on it.
What was your first viral video?
Oh my gosh, my first viral video was me doing an impression of the YouTuber Jeffree Star.
Oh yeah, you don't know him, Grandma. He's like a makeup. What would you say?
He's like a makeup YouTuber guru
okay.
who's very known for just being dramatic in the way that he speaks and talks like this. And I made an impression of him, and at the time I didn't think it was very good, but apparently it was because people loved it. And from there, I just kept doing Jeffree Star impressions, and that is how I grew my whole personal page, my account Davis Burleson. That's where I grew it, and then from there, I just kept doing more comedy stuff, lots of skits, and just trying to
Did
make
you ever
people
meet
laugh.
him?
I never met him.
Oh, he
no.
never reached out.
Never reached
That's so
out. I
interesting.
know. I know.
I feel like that is for sure in your future.
Maybe. I mean, I still even
Would
have.
you even want to?
I think it would be kind of iconic,
Pretty
honestly. Pretty awkward
Would be
too.
awkward,
I have
maybe.
even the Jeffree Star like jumpsuit that he always wears. I have the wig that he
I
had,
love
like
it.
his hair. Like I went full Jeffree.
That's so funny. And when you moved from Houston to New York City, did that change kind of the content you were putting out as well?
Yes. So I moved in August of 2020. I had to quarantine for 2 weeks before I could move into the dorms.
I know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It was a crazy situation here. And as it all proved out, we didn't need to do that. But all right, we did it. We all did it.
We all did
Walked
it.
around with the gloves.
Oh, yeah.
I still remember those blue gloves. I took them recently and threw them in the garbage can because we would go to the market wearing the blue gloves.
You
my
went for the
husband and I.
gloves. I never.
Oh,
did.
yeah,
I was
that's
never
right.
on the glove train.
I was on the gloves. Well, I stayed in the city the whole time.
Oh wow.
During the pandemic, and I used to walk in my neighborhood on the Upper East Side. There wasn't a person there. I think I was the only one that would go out in the morning, and then I would come back and we'd ring the bells and all that for the Lenox Hill nurses and the doctors. It was almost an out of body experience to be in Manhattan during COVID.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't even explain it to people who were even just 100 miles away or 50 miles away. They couldn't understand what was really happening in the city. So I'm sorry that was your first example in New York.
It's okay.
With your quarantine.
We got through it. I mean,
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, I moved here and started trying to meet new friends, all of that stuff, living in the dorms. And I was continuing doing Jeffree Star content. And quickly I was like, I want to kind of start making my account more about me, not about other people or like playing these characters. And so I started to do a lot of day in the life videos in New York.
That's fun.
And those really started to take off, and that was kind of like my content.
Right.
But what a lot of people don't know is that when I was making those videos, I was actually hating living in New York. I hated my life because it was so hard living here.
It was solitary.
I moved to New York to go to college. I was doing everything.
To go to a party, to go to a bar, and there were none.
No, Washington Square Park was the club for me. We would go there on Friday nights and like drink White Claws out of like brown paper bags, and like that was what we did. And I actually filed a transfer in October. I only lived in New York for 2 months to go to SMU in Dallas because I was like, New York's not for me. I was never meant to come here. And I got into SMU and in November, packed up everything in New York and left.
Oh, wow.
And was going to SMU. And then over Christmas break, I just got this inner feeling like that I needed to go back and that I made the wrong choice. And then I ended up getting the offer to start my show now called What's Poppin'.
Right.
And I felt like it was something that I had to do. And so I moved back to New York in February, and that's where
that
I
was
started.
karma.
It was karma.
That was karma.
Yeah,
You know, you
honestly.
don't know exactly where you're going to be and what you're going to do, but it was good to go home or back away from the city and realize, no, I'll give it a second chance, which, you know, we often don't give each other second chances. And it's so important, too, because, you know, you don't. First impressions aren't necessarily the best impression. You have to sort of let it.
That's
even
why
in
you're a
dating,
proponent-
even in dating,
Yeah.
Yeah.
even
Of giving
dating,
someone
I
10
always
dates.
say give somebody. Well, I'm very big on the 10-date
Yeah.
rule.
10 dates? Give
10
someone
dates.
10 dates?
Well, yeah,
Like,
because
even
by
if
the
you're
first,
unsure.
the first 3 we don't even know their names. So you know, this has been really a conversation. I think you have to give somebody several chances.
Okay.
And same with cities, I guess.
Yeah.
Did New York grow on you?
New York absolutely grew on me. Like, I love living here. It's
Right.
been so amazing for my life, my career, my confidence, my fashion.
Yeah.
Everything has elevated since
Yeah.
living here. Of course, there's definitely a lot of struggles that come with it. Like, it's just a lot different than where I was raised
Fair.
in terms of lifestyle. But those are challenges I have quickly gotten over
Right.
because of what the city has to offer.
Yeah.
Well, people who come to New York have to realize, first of all, they have to make a lot more money than they made in their hometown. I think
Yes.
that's
Which is
the
so
first.
expensive
It
here.
is just so expensive, and it's very hard for a young person to really start out here because you really don't have a choice. The rents are so high, food is naturally higher because everybody charges more. I think our McDonald's are even more than other places.
Is it?
Yeah, I think it is. So I think they're trying to change that. They're going
Okay.
back to somewhat of a $5 meal. But you know, it's some places it's just very hard to exist here. So you have to bear it, realize that, and have the grit to stick it out, which you did.
Yeah.
I did.
And it helps to get a big opportunity at like What's Poppin' and think, okay, this is going to start a new chapter versus like going back to the same thing that you were doing before. Like, that's exciting and it's always hopeful. Like, what did you think that was going to turn into when that offer came about? And like, how did it come?
Well, I actually had just gotten a DM on Instagram from this guy who like had a verified blue check mark and asking me to come in for a meeting. He was a part of this media company called Fallen Media. I'm still with them today. And I went into this meeting. It was like 6 straight guys in a room telling me that I was funny.
Right.
And I remember before the meeting, I was like calling my dad, like, what do I wear?
Right.
Like, I don't know. My dad's like, look professional.
Right.
And so like I went into this meeting and they were telling me all these things. They loved my videos. I was like, that's so nice. And then they had an idea of making like a TikTok version of the show Billy on the Street, which is like running around the streets of New York interviewing strangers. And they were like, are you comfortable talking to strangers?
Right.
And I was like, oh yeah, absolutely.
Talk to anybody.
Are you?
No. I was not at the time. Barely
Yeah.
could talk to a barista. Like, but I lied to get the job,
Yeah.
and I did. And I was very excited. I was like, this is meant to be. But the catch was we were starting from zero,
Right.
from nothing.
Right.
And I had a lot of the responsibilities too, because at this time it was just a small startup. And I was the talent. I was posting. I was basically doing a lot of the work to get it running. And they were paying me not very much a
Right.
week.
You weren't getting Howard Stern money.
I was not getting Howard Stern money. No, I was not, because I also didn't expect it to go anywhere. I
Right.
was more excited just to be getting this
job.
check, to get by. I was in college, so it wasn't really like, I didn't see this as being like a big thing.
Right.
So we started in February of 2021 in the streets of Soho. I'm running up to strangers, trying to talk to them. No one wants to talk
Yeah,
to me.
that's the thing
It
with
was the
New
middle of
York.
COVID too.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm in
yeah.
a mask.
Stay back.
Oh, you
Stay
were wearing a
back. Don't
mask?
forget.
Middle of COVID, wearing masks.
you
It's like
forget.
30 degrees.
Right.
I mean, no, and it's Soho. No one wants to talk
Nobody
to me there.
wants to talk to you.
People have places to be. And so we started doing those interviews and started posting them. And within a month, we had 100,000 followers.
People loved it.
And then within 3 months, it was 1 million. And it was like the craziest time of my life.
Amazing.
And it's just been my job ever since.
So now can you talk to a barista with confidence?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Almond milk latte coming right up. Like, yes.
How do you think like the more you do something, the less nerves sort of are around it and you just get more comfortable? Or like how was that process of going up to strangers? Like does it still kind of make you feel awkward?
I think for me, it was like a fake it till you make it sort of thing. And definitely doing it over and over again helped me. It also just helped my confidence. And in all honesty, the camera helped a lot because it felt like whenever I would go up to the stranger, it wasn't just me and them. It was like me, them, and the camera.
Yeah, you're doing it for a reason.
I'm doing it for a reason. There was a purpose behind it. And I really just love to like entertain, and like I also love to make other people feel comfortable and like they can shine their light too.
Yes.
So that is something that I've been trying to do with my interviews. Is like we're putting on a show here.
Right,
We're
exactly.
having fun.
Do you ask and I'm just curious because we've had a few of those interviews on the street, but they asked us first if we would do it. Are these total strangers, or do you sort of get a heads up that, all right, I'll do it with you?
They're total strangers.
Total strangers.
Yes.
Okay.
I am
So that's
very,
more of the shot. That's more of the excitement that the camera picks up on. Then.
Yes, I've been very adamant since day one. Like I will not plan any interviews. I really love the authenticity and the shock value of the run up. And a lot of times they like scream or they jump, and that's a little bit of the goal. It's like fun, but of course I don't want to scare anyone too much.
Exactly.
But also I know what kind of
Person
people
will be receptive.
talk to me.
Right.
So like usually girls like 18 to 30
They're
or
happy.
boys that have
they're
cool
in your
style.
culture.
Yeah,
They're in your culture.
Exactly. I'm not going to go
Not
up
too
to
many 80-year-olds want to get interviewed on the street on the fly.
No, honey, and I've tried. And
I
they
know
don't.
that.
They don't.
I know that. They don't want to. I can understand that.
And then-
Oh, please, my hair, my face, I can't.
Right. Unless you're like coming from a luncheon or something. You're like, I happen
Yeah.
to look good right now. But even then you have a million questions. Where does this go online?
Exactly.
And, like,
Exactly.
you
We're
have to
not used to it.
understand. Yeah.
We're not used to it. It's a different time. It's a different, a group of people that it's harder to approach.
Yeah.
Understand that.
And then do they sign a release or something after the fact?
Yeah, they
Oh,
sign
they
a release
do.
after, and a lot of times they don't want to be on it, and
Right.
it sucks. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day,
Right.
like that's
But you
just
have to
the name
try.
of the game. You have to try.
Right,
Yeah.
totally. What's been the most like out of pocket reaction you've gotten?
Oh my gosh, there's so many.
Yeah.
Like I've been doing it for almost 4 years, so
can't
you
believe it's
know
4
there's
years.
stories. But the one that comes first to mind was I do this kind of segment where if I see someone holding something crazy or wearing something crazy, especially shoes, I'll say like, "How far are you walking in those shoes?" or "Where are you going with that plant?" Like just like things about what they're doing. And there was this woman wearing these wooden flip-flops. She could barely walk in them.
Like clogs.
exactly.
They were like clogs.
I think you have a pair of those, Kim.
Definitely
You
not.
can barely walk in those
what
white
is that
ones.
from? Like Dutch? Like,
I'm telling you, you have one of those
no, those
white
are just
clogs.
those are just platforms.
But you can barely walk in those. I understand where he's going.
Okay.
Okay. Continue. I know what I've seen her dressing and walking in
You
it.
know about these clogs.
They're
I know.
walking like
you can't walk in them at
no,
all.
you can't.
And so I
You
see
can't.
this
They
girl.
don't move.
You can't move. She's struggling.
Yes.
And so I run up to her and I said, "How far are you walking in those shoes?" And she turned to me and was not happy. Said a lot of nasty things to me, and said, well, the funniest part was she just went on and on about how like rude this was to do, and then said, "I've seen your videos though; they're funny, but you never know what someone's going through, so you got to be careful." Blah 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 blah, and just went on a whole tangent. And
She was having a bad day.
she was having a bad day, and I didn't take it to heart, but I did
like,
feel bad.
I'm sorry, even if you're going through something hard, like that has nothing to do with your shoe choice.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't get why questioning the shoes would be like a trigger.
Yes, exactly. Just answer the question and move on.
She was
Sign
ready.
the goddamn release. And then you have your TikTok radio on SiriusXM.
Yes.
Tell me about that opportunity and how that happened.
Well, that just kind of came through doing my What's Poppin' show.
Yeah.
I got an email about SiriusXM. They were launching a channel called TikTok Radio, and they were interested if I would want to be a host, and I never even thought about doing radio, but once I like thought more about it, I'm like, this is perfect for me. I love to speak. I have the gift of gab, and I can do it from anywhere. So it's really just perfect. And I did like the audition process and got the job, and I've been doing it for almost 3 years now, which has been amazing. But what's so fun about it is I get to talk about a topic that I know a lot about and something that I also do for my job. So I'm a host on TikTok Radio. We play all the trending songs on TikTok, and then we talk about all the trends that are happening. And so it also keeps me very refreshed on the culture. I have a pulse on it.
Right. Because then will you do those trends yourself on your channel?
You know what? I should, but I'm always like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And then I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, trends don't work for everyone.
Trends don't work for everyone. Yeah.
But that's amazing. And I feel like it makes so much sense for you and like your career path. You also interview celebrities on there, right? So tell us about a few.
Oh my gosh. That has been the most amazing part of the job, and it was not something I expected, but the first one I think was Dixie D'Amelio, who's also on TikTok and everything, and she was coming out with music at the time, and they wanted me to come in person to the studio to do an interview with her, filmed and everything, and I was like, lights, camera, action, let's go. And so we did that interview, and then ever since then, I've just been doing more and more, and the talent has just been getting better and better. I got to recently do Dua Lipa. I've got to do Olivia Rodrigo twice.
I mean, these are A-list, huge guests.
It's been amazing.
Yeah.
It's very, very fun. They're very short little interviews, so you don't get too deep
in the weeds,
But what's interesting about these is it's not only for the radio, it's also filmed for YouTube, but also the main thing to get people to watch those or listen is the clips on TikTok.
Yes.
And so the whole time while I'm doing the interview, I'm like, okay, what's the 30-second clip that I'm gonna get
out of that interview?
So I'm like, I want to get these little fun little questions that will do really well on TikTok, and so people will watch the interview. The
sound bite is important now more than ever. Like you want those viral moments out of interviews because most people aren't going to sit down for the long form entire thing. I mean, I guess your interviews are short anyway, but like I think the same when we're doing the podcast, when it's like, okay, if someone only is going to hear or watch 30 seconds of it, like what's the best moment going to be? And often I feel like it's the ones that like you're not prepared for or haven't scripted. Have you found it to be the case, or do you know what you can kind of get out of your guests?
I kind of know.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I love to prep for these things. Of course, I make it seem like it's not prepped, but I only have 10 minutes, and I have to get not only in their new music that we need to talk about, but also we need to talk about their TikTok, what they see on TikTok, fun little trends. And so there's a lot of things we got to pack in there. And of course, if things go off topic, they do. But like I have in my head like little things that I know, little clips that I will want.
Yeah.
And they're specific because he's really dealing with music TikTokers, correct? I mean,
No.
Oh, it's all different ones, or is it just?
Yeah, it's not only musicians or singers that you interview. It's like
it's musicians, singers, and then a lot of TikTokers come on too. But the main thing is singers who have a TikTok presence, or they're trying to get their song boosted on TikTok.
Exactly.
Yeah, because TikTok is really controlling the music industry right now.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. I mean, I actually just talked about this on the radio yesterday. I said, let's look at the Billboard Hot 100. Let's look at the top 10 and see if these songs are massive on TikTok. Let's see what their TikTok presence is like. And all of them, except for one, were like huge on TikTok. I think the number one was a bar song by Shabuzi that had like 1 million videos made on TikTok. And that's a direct correlation with what's being played.
1,000%. I feel like when I hear something on the radio, I don't really like listen to music that often. If I do, it's like from her decade, like 50s and 60s stuff. But I'll know stuff that's happening, like, or that's popular right now just from scrolling through TikTok. And I'm like, wait, how do I know the most popular song right now? It's like, oh, because I'm on TikTok all day long.
Exactly.
Yeah, same thing with, honestly, news and everything.
Do you think TikTok is going to change?
I don't know.
What is your feeling? I mean, I don't know either. I never can get quite the handle of where it's going. But you certainly are closer to the cutting edge of what's happening. So are they nervous about it? Are they, preparing their talent to do maybe something else?
I mean, it seems like 6 months ago we were preparing for that, and now it seems a little quieter, which is always a good sign. But what's so funny is like every year it's like TikTok's being banned, and then it doesn't get
It's
banned.
so political at this point. We really don't know what's happening.
We have no idea what's happening. So I'm just going day by day, and for me personally, since TikTok is a huge part of my job, but I also have other jobs too, like on the radio and my Instagram and YouTube, all that stuff. So I can only do.
You can only do your share, which is what we feel the same. But it's always overhanging in your thoughts, and it's a crazy time now. We'll see what.
But yeah, you have this hosting career as well. And did you do the Grammys carpet?
I did.
Yeah, that's insane.
Fun! That's great.
Oh my gosh, I've gotten to do the Grammys 3 years in a row.
All right, so what did you wear?
What did I wear? Oh my God, this year I wore full Ami Paris, which is one of my favorite brands, and I wore these sequin black pants with a black blazer. It was an all black, and I had longer hair at the time. It was like swooped over.
Very cool.
Loved that outfit, but the Grammys is like so fun. I am obsessed with music, so it's just like a great place to be, and I get to interview like my favorite artists. So that has been like a dream come true. I love it, and it's so interesting how seeing all the behind the scenes, how it actually works. It's a lot earlier than you might think. It's like 11 a.m. People are like walking the carpet.
All made up.
You know?
All made up. Well, they do it for television. So when it's
on the East Coast,
it's
later,
exactly. So they got to prepare. 11 o'clock becomes 3 o'clock here or 2 o'clock. So now I want to get to the conversation. You just came back on a cruise with your grandma.
I did.
So we got to talk about that a little bit,
Yeah.
Kim.
Well, first of all, like when your grandma sees you hosting the Emmys carpet, what does she say?
She's like, wait, what? Where do I watch you? And I'm like, it's on TikTok or it's on Instagram. And my aunt luckily has helped her out. So she's been able to watch me, which is awesome. And I got
Does she love it?
She loves it. And I also got her set up on SiriusXM. So she listens to me on there, which is amazing. But yes, I just got back from a 7-day Alaskan cruise with my grandmother. It was so fun.
I'm sure. Does everybody recognize you? Do people on the cruise recognize who you were?
A couple people. I took a selfie.
So she must get very proud.
Yeah. And then we went to Canada, and I met a lot of people in Canada, which was pretty cool. But your question, was it just me and my grandma? Yeah. No, it was me, my grandma, and my 8 cousins. Just the cousins.
8 cousins?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, that's a lot of siblings.
Where do you fall? Like, are you the oldest?
I am the 4th.
Okay.
Yeah, so I kind of run in the middle.
That's really nice.
Yes.
That's a lovely trip.
It really was a lovely trip. When we actually did the same trip 10 years ago, for my grandma's 70th birthday, and she had brought everyone, including her children, which are my aunts and uncles, and she has 6 kids. So we come from a very big family with all of us. And this time it was just the children with grandma, and it was fun.
That's terrific. Yes. That's terrific. Because I did the trip with one part of my family with my 2 grandchildren, and it was really a wonderful trip. Of course, half of my group got sick on it. The minute they left, we left Vancouver. Vancouver was getting on in Vancouver, and the day we left, the fog rolled in. So we were supposed to go on the helicopter ride on the glacier.
We were supposed to as well.
Got on my money back, thank heavens, because it was fogged in.
Was it the same thing with you?
Yeah, fog and rain.
I think it's always fogged in. I swear. I think they sell you these packages figuring the one day out of the year it's a nice day, and you never get it. And the only funny thing is, my older granddaughter in this family and I were fine on the whole trip. Everybody else was in their cabin, including my husband, who was watching the entire thing on a video. He's the only person that saw Alaska on TV. They had, each day they would have a gentleman talking about what they were going to do during the day and what was happening. We did it. He was in the room watching it. He saw nothing. But the funny thing is, I went to Alaska thinking I'm only going to see one eagle. I always wanted to see eagles for whatever reason. They fascinate me. Well, the minute we landed in Alaska, the eagles were flying. Wherever I went, whatever town we went to, the big American, but they're so gorgeous, and they're all over the place. My granddaughter, who was at that point, I guess she was about 13, 14, she said, Grandma, there's another eagle, and there's another eagle.
It
So
was fabulous. The eagles,
amazing.
I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
I've never seen a bald eagle
Exactly.
in person.
Yeah,
you think
And
you're going to see one.
I didn't even think about it at all. It wasn't on my mind, quite honestly. But when I saw one,
Yeah.
I was brought to tears.
Exactly.
I'm
Oh,
obsessed with
wow.
birds.
They're beautiful. Me
I'm a
too.
very emotional person. I'm not like a big like crybaby, but like I get tears and goosebumps all the time. And I saw the bald eagle,
I'm
and
telling
I
you,
was like,
It's
Oh,
something that
wow.
takes you back to being American.
Yes.
You can't even, you just don't, they're so majestic in the sky. Anyway, that was my highlight in Alaska.
What
were
other
those
animals
eagles.
did you see?
we saw a brown bear,
Bear.
from
You see
very,
one
very
bear.
far away.
You see one bear.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you were on my cruise. One bear. I was looking in the trees. They said, "Oh, he's hiding up there."
Yeah. They're like, if you look real
They
close, I'm
closely.
like, I don't see anything.
Yeah, exactly.
My grandma has her binoculars. She's like, I see it. But we also saw sea lions,
Yes.
which was cool. And then we
yeah.
saw the humpback whale.
Well,
Oh, okay.
see,
Yeah.
we didn't see that there. We were trying. We didn't see that. And I have to say, when we went, it must have been after the salmon migration. So we saw maybe 3 salmon going up the stream. You know,
Okay.
usually there's a certain time of the year where there are thousands and millions of them that come up to spawn. We saw, I think they were dead, to tell you the truth, the ones I saw. But it is part of the United States that is so majestic. When you see the glaciers and everything was a waterfall. Loads of waterfalls, which is so beautiful.
Sounds
I mean,
nice.
it is. It's beautiful.
It really was. I've
It's
never
a
seen anything
beautiful-
like it. I was like,
Yeah.
this is America?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you and your grandma differ in like your travel style and habits?
A little bit yes, a little bit no. We both love a good game of Rummy Cube on vacation, so we played a lot of that.
Okay.
And every time I make a good move, she like cheers for me.
Cute.
Still, all right, Davis. I'm like, yes. And
did
even
it.
though like we're like playing against each other, she'll like
Right,
look over at my
aw.
thing and like help me. I'm like, why are you helping me? Just
That's
the way
so
she
grandma
is.
core.
Yeah. But the only thing that we differ in is she just goes to bed pretty early.
Okay.
Except on like select few nights, she was up to like 1 a.m., 2
That's
a.m. with the
late. That's
kids,
late.
like having fun, and I was
Exactly.
like,
Good for her.
Yeah.
Good.
Yes.
Good. So it was a great
Does she
trip.
ever give you advice, either like career wise or dating wise? Because I get that a lot, obviously.
oh my gosh. I can't think of any advice. I'm sure she's given me a lot of advice,
Yeah.
but I remember when I first came out, I had told my dad, and then he was like, "Well, now you have to tell your grandma."
Okay.
And I was like, "No, please, no." And he was like, "No, you have to." He like basically made me, and so I had to get on the phone and call her and tell her that I was gay. And the first thing she said was like, "Doesn't matter to
Who
me.
cares?
Yay.
Who cares?" And I remember her just comforting me and just telling me on the phone for like 5 minutes how much she loved me and will always love me. And
That's so
that was
sweet.
like the most amazing thing. And so she's always been a
That's a
huge,
good grandma.
good grandmother
That's a
and
good
big
grandma.
part of my life. Actually, she doesn't like to be called grandma. She likes to be
Oh.
called Mimi.
Mimi. Great Mimi.
Everybody's got a different thing. They have Nana by some, Grandma by some. You know, it's,
yeah.
It's really a very personal thing.
Yes.
It's what you somebody called her in the beginning when it was the first grandchild.
Yes, my older brother.
Exactly. Then that label sticks with you no matter what.
Right. So, did you ever bring a guy home to Mimi?
Oh my gosh, I never have. But she
Okay.
is asking. She's
Yeah.
like, "What about your boyfriend? Are you getting a boyfriend?" And I always say that I'm just not looking for one right now, which I'm kind of not. Really, I'm not
Okay.
in the place to. I mean, maybe he'll come, but like
Yeah.
right now, it's not like my day-to-day
Right.
seeking. But hopefully, she'll meet my boyfriend one day.
Yeah. Does having like a TikTok presence ever make you feel type of way about dating? Like that maybe people would get the wrong idea of you or a different idea of you or.
Yeah, it's been very interesting dating while also being like in the public eye
Yeah.
because when I first moved to New York, I was dating a lot, and it didn't really cross my mind that I was also on the internet because I just really wasn't. It wasn't my full-time job. I wasn't really getting recognized as much, and so
Yeah.
it didn't really impact me. So that's when I was really dating a lot. And then as I started to grow more and more, and like more recently, it's been kind of difficult because I feel like people know so much about me before they even
go
meet
out
me,
with
or
you.
like they think I'm more. Like I am a lot louder and like
Okay.
talk so much and like whatever. And of course that's like my public presence, but I'm
Right.
a lot more chill in person.
Right.
And so I want guys to like see that side of me, but I feel like it is a little bit hard. But once you get past that hump, I think
Yeah.
it'll be
Well, I
like
fine.
always
after
say
the
to
first
Kim,
date, they'll
don't
get
talk
it.
Yeah.
about dating, your own personal dating, on anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's your business.
Yeah.
Like,
You know, you
don't
can
name
make-
names.
don't
But
name names
obviously.
and don't. Yeah, because it's nobody else's business. We're having fun with all this, and your personality comes out. And when you find a person you want to be with, it doesn't have to be discussed in front of 100 million people. You know,
Totally.
that's
But
that's
some
the
people
whole
do
thing.
it, you know?
I know some people do it. They may, but I just don't think it's a good way to have a relationship in the long run. Airing your dirty laundry is never good.
Okay, we know how you feel.
Okay.
Okay. Let's finish up with a game, Grandma Gail's old-fashioned dating quiz. It's no rummy cube,
Okay.
but we're gonna deem whether you're more of a modern dater or a traditional dater.
Okay, fun.
Okay.
Let's-
Hypothetically,
Okay.
would you rather receive a call or a text from a guy if it's just to say hi?
Call.
Would you sleep with someone on the first date?
Yes.
Dating apps or setups?
Set up.
Move in together before getting engaged or wait until you're like engaged or married to move in?
Move in before.
Who should pay for the date? Should you guys split or should one person pay?
Whoever asked should pay.
Okay. Okay, so a little bit more modern.
Okay.
No, a little more traditional.
No?
3 and 2. 3 and 2. He's a little more traditional.
Okay,
I
wait.
fall in between. I'm a little bit
I
of
think
both,
it's split.
baby.
I think it's split.
No, he had 2 and 2, and then the last one he said, "Whoever asked." That's
That's
traditional.
modern.
Oh, really?
Is
Yeah.
that modern?
Is
it
that
not?
modern? I would have thought that's traditional.
I
Whoever
feel like-
asked on the date?
I feel like traditional is like one person pays all the time.
Oh
Maybe not.
no, I
We have to maybe think
we
about
have to think
that
about
one.
that one. Let's put you in. You're half and half.
Okay,
Okay.
half and half.
We're
I
gonna
like
discuss.
that.
We're gonna discuss this on our own. 'Cause we have to think
I
about
actually
that.
don't know the answer. Okay, Davis, thank you so much for joining us. Tell everyone where they can watch you, follow you, anything they need to know.
Oh my
And listen
gosh.
to 'em.
Thank you guys for
Yes.
having me on. This was so fun.
So fun.
You can follow me on TikTok, Instagram at Davis Burleson or at What's Poppin', which is my show. And then you can listen to me on Channel 4 on SiriusXM TikTok Radio.
Thank
I can't
you.
wait to listen to Channel
Same.
4. Tomorrow's my road trip. I'm listening to
And
him.
then maybe you'll
outside.
know what I'm talking about when we're like, let's film this trend, and you're like, what are you saying?
What trend?
Yeah,
We'll
yeah.
have you doing the Apple dance in no time.
Okay, good.
I actually know what that one is.
I don't know what
and
it
I'm not good with the trends either, but I'll show you later. Okay, thank you.
Thank you,
And you
guys.
guys can follow us at Excuse My Grandma, and we will see you soon.
Bye.